Man, that intro every time is just banging. I love it. I love it. And I just picture how it is for you every single time with the subwoofers, like you're bumping over here.
You would think there'd be like a loud car just passing by, like bumping really hard, but it's just my speaker in here.
It's so funny. Well, welcome back, guys. We're super happy to be here. It's another beautiful Monday, getting our week started off strong, and it's another exciting day. Another exciting day.
For sure. Today is Q&A, guys. So if you guys have any questions, multifamily related, anything and everything, now's your opportunity to start asking these questions. And Joseph and I will do our best to go and cover every single question within, what do you say, Joseph? About an hour is what we typically shoot for?
Yeah, about an hour.
Yeah.
About an hour.
We got some people in the house already. Jaden's in the house.
Can't miss those biceps.
I'm telling you, man. What's your secret, bro?
We got Natalie.
Hey, Natalie.
We got Andrea.
Andrea, what's up?
Glad to have you guys. Super excited for yet another day. I just try to stay as positive as possible, just going throughout everything.
I thought you were going to say, I'm just happy to be here.
I mean, I am just happy to be here. Always happy to be here, man. Anytime we're alive, I'm happy to be here. You just got to have that gratitude. And, it kind of starts off as not genuine, you're just kind of saying it to say it, but eventually it just kind of develops into that's how you feel every day.
Exactly.
So it's weird how it works, honestly. Super
Yeah.
weird.
For sure, bro. I am happy to be here on that note. Right?
You know what, man? I'm glad that you're happy. I'm glad that you're happy to be here. That makes me happy to be here.
Look, oh, you'll see it in a second. I'm on YouTube, so I can see the comments come in quicker than here.
Oh, I see it right here.
You'll see, yeah, my guy.
Bro, let me tell you, me too, man. Hang on. I got a picture here somewhere. Well, we're kind of just waiting for some questions. And, it seems like you guys have been crushing it in the multifamily space. So that's awesome. That's awesome. But I'm right there with you, bro. When I graduated high school, I was 112 pounds. Hold up. Look at this picture. You see that? Bro, I was 112 pounds wet. I'm at the pool right there. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. So I get it. I get it. Definitely put on some weight since then. The whole father figure has definitely been taken into account. Oh, speaking of, Natalie says, "How's the baby?" Baby's doing fantastic. She's a little sweetheart for sure. Until she turns into like the little Sour Patch Kids at night. No, I'm just teasing. I love her, man. She's awesome.
By the way, guys, if you are on Facebook watching this, then all the action is on the YouTube channel. So if you want to switch over on the YouTube channel, that's where most of the people are at. So you can go there. First off, if you're not following us, follow us and subscribe on YouTube. And also, if you're in the YouTube channel, you should be networking with each other and seeing if you guys can do deals together, or partner up. Your future partner could be in the chat. So YouTube, guys, that's where all the action's at. And then the other announcement is if you guys are not part of the Facebook group, which I think most of you guys are, but if you're not and if you're new, then check out our Facebook group. It's Multifamily, the $1 Million Upside. And that's where we announce everything that we're doing, including anything, events that we're hosting, like Zooms or lives or anything at all, we post it there. So, and again, it's a good spot to network as well because there's a lot of people in that group. So you can post about deals or you can ask questions there and we will help you guys out. as much as we can on Facebook group.
Yeah, and I want to touch on what you said earlier. You were talking about networking with the people that are in the side chats in these rooms, not even just this room, but all of the rooms that you go into. And I wanted to shout out one of our VIPs in the side chat. We got Steven Steele. You guys, he's a freaking phenomenal underwriter. So if you don't know Steven and you need help working on your deals or trying to figure out if it's even a deal, I would definitely hit up Steven. He could definitely help you out with that.
100%. And then
I
the
see
last,
it.
actually, I wanted to do one more thing. If you have not registered for this Friday Zoom, the link is at the bottom. It's zoom.milliondollarupside.com. And you don't want to miss out this week because we are going over underwriting, but it's going to be nothing like we've done before. And even Joseph doesn't really know what exactly is going to happen,
Just
but
happy to be here.
yeah, but it's going to be a good one. You don't want to miss it. It's this Friday at 12 p.m. CST. Every Friday, and we're still doing our series on multifamily from A to C, from acquisition to closing, in our business model. So we've done part one, which was deal sourcing. We taught you guys how you can find a deal and the way we find deals and what we do. And then we did last week part two, which was deal analysis 101, and we went through some amazing market analysis metrics that we go by, and also the financial part of it as to what to ask for so you can analyze your deal. And this week we're going over underwriting. So don't miss it, guys. It's going to be amazing. Again, the link's below right there on your screen, zoom.milliondollarupside.com.
Yeah, the last one, man, was awesome. It was awesome. I got a lot of good feedback from that one. So super excited what you've got cooking in the works over here. I'm being left in the dark on this one. Normally, I'm the one giving you guys all these underwriting classes or courses. So I'm excited to see what him and Ione have got for us. I'm super excited.
Can't wait.
And look, while we were talking, Andreas said your future partners could be in these chats. So true. So true, guys. So true. Don't sleep on that. Don't sleep on that at all. Well, I do see one question from Miss Natalie Diaz. She said, "Which platform do you like best to find deals, and which do you like the least?" You want to take that one?
Yeah. There's two major platforms in multifamily that I know of, and maybe Joseph, you can touch up on anything I missed, but the ones that you can publicly go see and anybody has access to is Crexy and LoopNet. And out of those two platforms, I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, or if not, maybe
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think she's talking about.
out of those two platforms, I personally like LoopNet better just because that's what I started on. But Crexy does have some other differences that LoopNet doesn't have. I just haven't dug into the like analysis part of it or like numbers and all that kind of stuff because I know they provide data. But for me, I like LoopNet better just because I can navigate it a little bit better. It's a little bit friendlier, in my opinion. And that's how I started calling off brokers leveraging LoopNet. So I would say for me, LoopNet all the way. Don't get me wrong, Crexy's good, but I just prefer LoopNet.
Yeah, out of those two, I definitely would agree with you. The only thing that I would add to that is that there's multiple ways that you could use those websites. You could either call directly on the listings that are listed there, call for those listings, talk to those brokers, or you can search by the market and just cold call the brokers that are listed on those websites. So you can go both routes. We've done both. We got hits off of both. They both work. So it's totally your preference on what you'd like to do. And there's other sites out there, like brokerage websites that it's their in-house listings. You could do the same thing, go get on their email blast list and things like that as well. So that will give you some good results too. You just need to do a little bit more research into the different brokerages that offer those. But I'm sure if you just type multifamily listings, you'll find all kinds of things all over the internet.
Mm-hmm. And also sometimes if you're looking through like LoopNet and Crexy, you might find that LoopNet might have a listing that Crexy doesn't, or vice versa. Crexy has a listing that LoopNet doesn't. Sometimes they both, well, most of the time, both platforms will have the same listing, but sometimes you'll find that one platform does and the other one doesn't. So it's also good to cross-reference and check both of them if you're looking at on-market deals on both of those websites.
Man, you guys are making it an easy night tonight.
I know. Look.
That's it. That's it, man. What's up, Gleb? Happy Monday to you too, bro. Well, guys, I mean, we might just call it early. If y'all don't have any questions, give us the night off. I like it. I like it.
Let's see. What's a question that you might have had, Joseph, when you were new?
How the hell do I do this? And started questioning myself. Like, is this really what I want to do? Those are all questions that came up. Am I in the right field? Like, am I really about to go a few months without getting paid? Is this the way I want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
I had all those questions, man, and more, and
Those are
so
good
much
questions. Those are really good questions to have.
Yeah.
I think my biggest question was, how am I going to tackle these deals down? I think that was my biggest question starting off, because I thought about like even something as simple as like a 12 unit deal, right? I was like, how am I going to do it? Like, am I going to be the one, taking all the hats, like wearing all the hats on the deal? Like, am I going to be managing the property? I don't want to manage the property. Like, I don't want to be the one answering the phone calls whenever someone's toilet breaks or there's a leak going on. I was thinking all that when I was new. I was like, I mean, do I want to do this deal because I'm going to be stuck to this deal? Or, how do people do it? So that was kind of my biggest thing when I was starting off, is just I didn't know how to manage at all. Big hurdle came though, for sure.
Yeah, I would say that was definitely a fear of mine too, because I had never done anything like that. So it was definitely, I wouldn't even say at the back of my mind. It was at the forefront of my mind. Like, are we in over our heads? That's how I was just feeling the whole time. I kept calm on the outside. I don't know if you ever realized it, but I definitely kept calm on the outside, and the whole time on the inside, I'm just freaking out.
I was the same way, dude. Whenever I first got that purchase price from a seller, when I did my first multifamily deal, like I can't remember. I think it was 5 million, but he said 5.5 or something like that. I've never dealt with the purchase price that high before that, bro. Never. And I was like calm on the outside while I was on the phone, but freaking out on the inside, because I was like, how am I going to handle a $5.5 million deal? And that was real, man. That was real. That was when I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. I need to bring someone in. So that was my awakening too on that part.
It's funny you say that, man, because just like 15 minutes ago, right before we got on this live, I was sitting down looking at an $82 million deal. So just like, just put that into perspective. We were scared of a 5 million. Now we're looking at 82 to actually potentially move forward on it. They're still a little high on price, but I mean, that's the asking price that they want.
Yeah.
So that's definitely mindset shift for sure.
For sure.
So I see a couple questions now that we got. Natalie says, "Thank you for your responses. I know it boils down to the numbers, but generally speaking, about how many doors should someone acquire at once where it makes sense to hire a property manager?" I wouldn't say that there's really a set number to have that. It's really just dependent on what your numbers tell you, what the underwriting tells you. But for us, our general guideline is 40 doors or more for it to generally make sense in the underwriting to have a property manager for the property. But it doesn't necessarily have a minimum. You can always go get a property manager for any size of units. They do it for even single family houses. It just depends back, like I said, to the underwriting, what your numbers tell you about how much you can afford to pay the property managers, and if your income from those properties support having those property managers. So for us, our minimum is 40, just for that reason. Typically, anything less than 40, it's a lot harder to have the NOI support that property management.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Question from Gleb. Do you think of hiring virtual assistants to do your broker outreach? What do you think about that one? I know what I think.
I think if you had a VA, you could do it. I'm not saying you can't. It's just going to be a little tough. You have to. I think if I were going to hire a VA, Gleb, I would train them and make sure that they're ready for it. So to answer your question, would I do it? Yes, but yeah, if I okay, maybe not. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, man.
It definitely is.
You got me stumped here.
There's a lot of communication that is involved in that broker outreach role, and it's very critical that the communication is nearly flawless, or at least held to a certain standard, because that broker outreach person is the representative of who you and your business are. So it's very important that that communication is A1. You don't really want to have someone that potentially has broken English, or even if they have almost flawless English, there may be a lot of cultural differences. And then just multifamily specifically, like there's a lot of lingo that you kind of need to learn as you're going through this, that there's a lot of different things that people just kind of say like it's normal, but for someone that's not been in this industry or space for a period of time, it might go completely over their heads or not make sense. So just kind of teaching those different lingo differences, as well as being able to fluidly handle conversations, is some of the reasons that I don't think that we would hire VAs for those positions, at least not this early in. I
Yeah.
think once we had a team that's completely stabilized, where we have all the SOPs and everything in place, then we can start considering like putting some time and energy into actually hiring and working with these VAs to get them up to our standards.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself, Joseph. Thanks.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for, bro. Natalie does not want to manage anyone's toilets, guys. That is a smart decision. Smart decision. And Gleb's follow-up question is, when is the right time to hire? I think it kind of just goes back to what we were saying. It's a tricky question, right? Because you could go out and hire people, but at the same time, now you're responsible for making sure that person gets paid. And I would say that you need to be fully committed to this before you hire anybody. You have to be 100% all in, and you have to be hungry. You can't just bring somebody into it and then not take care of them. You know what I mean? As soon as you hire someone, you're responsible for their livelihood, so to speak. So the on top of that, the answer I would say is when when you have need for a new role that you are becoming the bottleneck for, that's when you should start thinking about hiring out that role. When it's something that's monotonous and you can delegate that off to somebody, and you have other money making activities that you can do that outweigh the cost it would to hire that person, that's when I would really start considering it. But keep the first thing I said in mind as well. We don't want to screw anyone over. You want to add to that at all?
No, I think you covered it. That second part was what I was gonna say.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
All right, Max, one of our VIPs. He says, "What do you think will be the biggest challenge scaling your multifamily business?" Ooh, that's a good question. There's so many, honestly. I feel like we are going to have so many challenges ahead of us in the next years. So the biggest one, man, I don't know. I think I think turning it into kind of like an automated operation, I think is going to end up being one of our biggest challenges overall, just because we've been so hands on with everything that we've been doing. I think, and that's why it's our goal this year is to automate the majority of the business. But I think that's going to be our biggest challenges, mainly because it's one of my goals, but also because that's involving bringing more people and more systems into your business that may not be around for the long haul. So you're going to be dealing with multiple, I guess, short time employees. Like they mean well, but things come up, or maybe something just doesn't work out. Right? There's unforeseen things that happen along the way, and then you have to kind of restart your training progress with another person. You had that time invested. So I think that will probably be one of our biggest challenges outside of just daily life. I think that would be my number two.
I agree with you. I think it's just having the right people in place that's going to be the tough part, because you're right. We have been very hands on with a lot of the things that we're doing in the day to day. And so, it's like when you've done something for a long time and you just know how to do it, it's hard to delegate it sometimes, and you're like, have to put the right people in place. So I think you're right. I think it's that, exactly that. When we start to scale is automating and delegating. That's it.
Yeah. And we've been working with a small group of people, and they so far have been awesome. It's been an amazing ride so far. I'm excited to see how it develops into this next multifamily mogul empire. I'm just excited, man. I think it'll be super cool. Gleb, have you checked out Majestic Park deal yet? Yes, we are actually looking at it now for a second time. We've already seen it once, came through, numbers didn't quite check out. We're now looking at it again for a second time, and I think there was like what, a 4 or 5 month period in between or something like that, maybe less than that. So yes, we are looking reviewing it again. Let me see. Here we go. Joelle says, "How are you guys implementing AI in your systems and processes for multifamily?"
We have not implemented
Yeah,
any AI yet, but
we're not.
it is interesting to check out what they have nowadays. I mean, I just went to go look around and it blew my mind. Not saying that we never will, but it's just something that we haven't explored very much just yet.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe that is the answer to the first problem I just said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm just not that tech savvy. I mean, I'm relatively tech savvy. Just all that stuff starts to confuse me after a while, but it is really cool. Da, 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 da. Max just underwrote that deal a couple of weeks ago. Beautiful property. That's it, man. I don't have any more questions on the docket. You
Yeah,
guys must be professional multifamily investors now. I love it.
I know. Well, this is a Q&A for a lot of people who, just anybody in general, but if there's something else that you guys would want us to do on a Monday night instead of Q&A, you guys let us know. Put it in the chat or put it in the Facebook group, and we'll definitely give you guys what we'll do whatever's best to serve you guys at a higher level. If you think that this Q&A is cool, but maybe you would like to see something else, or maybe like a 50-50 Q&A at the end and something else at the beginning, we're open to feedback, guys. We want to make sure that we serve you guys to the highest level. That's why we're doing this. So any questions at all or any feedback, let us know.
Yeah, would absolutely love it. And I see Cecilia and Christopher Perkins said, I heard about sub two in multifamily. How does that work?
And look at this.
That's awesome. Well, brother, that's all you, man. You're the guy that discovered this knowledge here for us.
Yeah.
So this one's all you.
And I asked the same question, Cecilia. I was like, I heard you can do sub two in multifamily. Who do I ask? That was my question. And I heard it from no one, from the man, the myth, the legend himself, the creative guy, Pace Morby. And so I was on a mission to go ask him, how is that possible? How do you do it? And I joined him on a Q&A one Saturday morning. And I showed up really early, Cecilia, because I wanted to make sure that I get that question asked. And I rose my hand, the first one to raise my hand as soon as that Zoom started. And I was able to talk to him. And I asked him, I heard that you did a sub two on a multifamily property. How'd you do it? And he told me something that that kind of blew my mind, but at the same time, it was like, really? Because he said, the way you do it is the way you do any other sub two deal, any other subject to deal. So the same way you do a single family was the same way you do. Obviously, it's just multifamily. Might be a little different just on the actual transactional part of it, but he said it's the same thing. So when he answered that question, I was like, oh, it's that simple? He goes, yep, that's it. So to answer your question, how does it work? If you're familiar with doing sub twos in single family, then it's the exact same process. You just have to make sure that whoever you go to, like a title company or closing attorney or whatever, they know how to do it too. And it's the same process. You just take over the loan subject to, and that's it. There's a few more strategies that you can do to do something similar to subject to, or some hurdles that may come up along the way. But that you can still get around, and it is possible for sure.
Yeah, there's so definitely if you come across an opportunity like that, just let us know and we can help structure it so that way it makes sense and works.
Yeah.
But it's definitely possible. All you're doing is you're becoming a partner with the seller. That's it. That's the short and sweet answer right there. You're doing something creative that's not the norm.
Yep.
Gleb says, shall we do another round underwriting maybe sometime in the future? Like a deal or no deal type situation? Is that what you're looking for? That's what that's what it sounds like.
By the way, KJ had a great idea the other day. I think she might have told you about it. About the Q&As, changing it up a little bit. No?
No, I don't remember.
Oh, you should ask her. She had some pretty good ideas.
Okay. See, the reason that we're lacking at the large audience that we had before is because we don't have KJ anymore promoting us on social media. As you can see, it has been slacking because you have us two guys doing this, and we are nowhere near the proficient social media queen that KJ was. So you're stuck with us, guys.
KJ, she says, I did tell Joseph. He knows.
I don't remember. I'm sorry. Hang on, I saw a question here somewhere. There you go. Cecilia says, what's the difference between sub two and to assume the loan? Sorry,
bro.
I mean a cookie.
You got this.
My bad.
You got him while he was munching on a cookie.
Yeah. It's a Girl Scout cookie, guys. It's delicious. So had to do it. So the only difference is that whole partnership situation. I hear KJ yelling. She said, "Oh, hold up! You took the cookies." She might come in here in a second. Um, so the only difference between a sub two and assuming the loan, oh, I guess the main difference is where that loan is staying. In a sub two, the loan stays in the name that is originally under. That doesn't change. In an assumption, the loan is actually changing to the new buyer, whoever is assuming the loan. So that's the difference with that. The way that it's structured is different as well. At the sub two, like I said, you're just becoming a partner with the seller. So it's not actually changing ownership. The ownership, the people that own the LLC that owns the property is changing, not the ownership of the property. That the property is still owned by the same LLC. You just get added on as a partner. So now I'm probably just confused y'all, but that's the answer you guys were looking for. That's why we said go out and find the problem and then come back to us and then we'll work it out with you to have an actual example to show you with. Because without that, it is over your head a little bit. So
I think Joseph will require a box of Girl Scout cookies, though.
I'm not opposed. They're pretty good. I'll take all the flavors. All right, here we go. Christopher. He says, what all strategies are y'all trying to implement to always be able to make money in multifamily real estate, like seller finance to own for long-term cash flow, sub two wholesaling, etc.? All of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that we use everything at our disposal, to be honest with you. I think that just from the background that we have with the whole Pace Morby, we just look at things in different ways, and whatever makes the most sense for that particular situation is the way that we go about it. I mean, I think that's the honest, short and sweet answer. I mean, you want to add to that, any, Oscar?
No, not really. I think you got it. It's whatever we always try to look at it from a creative perspective. Any deal that we do, cash is really the last option that we look at because we know typically that a cash offer is not going to work for what they're asking, or it just doesn't make sense, right? So we look at the deal from a creative standpoint and try to get very creative if we can, or implement something creative in the deal in order for us to try to make it work. Or if we can't, then yeah, it's looking at it as does a sub two work? Does seller finance work? Does an assumption work? Does a hybrid of sorts work? Or is there like a different path that we can take that we're not thinking about? Okay, well, if this deal doesn't work for us and it's a market we don't know but it still looks good, do we want to wholesale it or do we want to keep it? There's different things that we definitely ask ourselves when we do a deal. So for sure, I mean, just anything and everything you can think of, Christopher, we're thinking about as well. Or if we haven't thought about it, we're trying to get brainstorming session going and say, hey, what can we do? Even if it sounds crazy, right? What can we do to try to make this thing work? And kind of approach it that way. But it's always trying to think outside of the box to see if we can think of something that, or give them an option, give the broker or the seller an option that still looks really good. It's creative, but we can do something with it.
You know what's funny is it used to take me like an hour, 2 hours to underwrite a deal. And that would be just like inputting the information and just getting it to a point where it looked reasonable, right? Now it takes me quite a while. It takes me about 30 minutes and hours. So it's still quite a while. But most of that time is not inputting the information anymore. It's just thinking of different strategies on how we can actually buy this to where it can make the numbers look better than what I have presented. So that's what we end up coming up with, different options, different selections for the seller to look at rather than just one single offer.
Exactly.
Joel says, you guys planning to host some meetups here in Texas? Yeah, we definitely are. We definitely are. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. But we definitely are. I think we'll probably do it in Dallas first. KJ said she did tell me. Oh, now I know what she's talking about. Yeah, so she said we could share. Basically, guys, what we're thinking about is bringing for our Q&A is bringing up a guest out of the audience, out of you guys, people that are always showing up into the community and just doing big things. So we want to highlight you guys as well, give you a chance to come up on stage and share whatever it is you'd like to share, and kind of just be a part of what we do here. So that was the idea. It was a good idea. Now I remember it.
That's the one.
Sorry guys, if it's not written down, it's non-existent in my life. Like that's not even a joke. That's very realistic. Gleb would love to understand what types of debt structures are good for sub 2. I guess I'm a little confused by the question. Um,
The debt structure would be the sub 2, and unless you have like a component to that, like seller financing
yeah,
or anything on top of that, then that's just another component to the structure itself. But the main structure is already a sub 2.
yeah. So it's just like a loan assumption almost, where you're just taking over the pre-existing terms that are already there. So you just work that into your underwriting and then adjust everything else around it.
Exactly. So whatever that may be, Gleb, it could be cash for the remainder equity. It could be a seller finance component, or it could be something other that we're not thinking about. But your main structure is already the sub 2. You just gotta, like Joseph said, add stuff to it, or simply take it over. There's many things you can do.
Joel said, "Are you guys still buying slightly smaller properties, but only if it's creative?" Our buy box is 40 minimum. I think we got to stay rock solid on that. We're not really looking to pursue less than that. Already, our buy box is 100 plus with cash. We consider something smaller at 40 plus if it's a creative deal.
Yep.
I'm looking. All right, a follow up. Gleb says, I meant what qualifies as a good sub 2 deal when you look at the existing debt. I would say it's almost the same scenario as what you do in single family, right? If the terms are acceptable and it's a good, like the percentage rate is lower, the terms are favorable, then it'll make sense for you. It's ultimately what comes down to the underwriting, and overall, if the pre-existing terms are better than what you can go and get currently, then more often than not, it's going to be a better scenario for you. Appreciate the banner.
I got you, bro. Now I know how to work this thing. Yeah, you got it, bro. That's it.
That's it. Man, these cookies are good.
You guys are watching Joseph eat cookies here. What is this, mukbang or unboxing video or what?
This is ASMR.
ASMR. There you go.
I got my mic. Are we crunching into this thing?
All right. I think there's. Is there another question? Yeah. Gleb asks or says, a lot of existing terms have interest-only payments for the first 3 years, and then all H breaks loose. Yeah, depending on your underwriting, depending on the deal. Yeah, definitely. Interest only periods for 3 years. We've seen some for 5 years, and there's one that and Joseph has looked at one that's 10 years, and that was the entire duration of the term. Uh-oh.
You're not about to eat them all, are you?
There's, excuse me, we're busy.
He ate all the other cookies last night.
They
I
were
already
good,
brushed my
bro.
teeth so I didn't eat them, and he ate them all.
Here,
There's more, right?
there might be.
Oh my gosh. Those are fighting words.
Start a fund for KJ's cookies.
Yeah, please do, so I can eat those too.
I swear, that's the last of it.
There's more in there, I promise.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, didn't mean to distract you. You were saying something, Oscar?
I forgot, man. That was.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
We apologize to you all. What I was gonna say, for the deals that look like that, I look at them as a refinance or a sale at that time period, and I stress test the deal, and I just put the cap rate like way higher than what I think it actually is going to be. So that way, if we do take over the deal, at least we take over the deal at low enough price that we're still going to be okay if the cap rate goes up 2% or 3% from where it was currently. So like if it's a class A and I'm buying at a 4.5 or 5, I'm going to underwrite with like a 6.5 or a 7 cap rate for the sale, just to make sure that even if we sell it at this, that I'm still going to do well. So if it cap rate stays the same, if I buy at a 4.5 and I sell it at a 4.5, then man, I'm going to make a lot of money that time. So I'm just underwriting extra conservatively with those deals, because we have one right now that's it matures in 4 years. So we either refinance or sell it. So that's what I was doing on that one. Just all to the underwriting. Where's that banner again? It's all about the underwriting, guys. If you can make the deal look good on the paper, on the underwriting, then send in your potential offer and see what happens. After that, you're just negotiating back and forth.
Yep.
Max says, what are the technicalities behind defaulting on your sub 2 payments? For single family sub 2, there is a clause where the property comes back to the seller, but for a syndication, where do your LP's money go?
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
Typically, in single family, when you're taking over a loan sub 2, most of those loans, or if not the majority of them, are recourse loans. So if you miss a payment, you're right, there is paperwork that, clauses that say it can go back to the seller in order to protect them, right? If you default, then the deed goes back into the seller's name. And it could affect their credit because it is tied to them personally. But in multifamily, if you're doing, disclaimer, we're not CPAs or attorneys, guys, but definitely disclaimer. If you're doing a sub 2 in multifamily, it's a little different because it's a non-recourse type of loan. So if something happens and you're not able to make the payments, then it's the asset, the lender bases the asset, the lender bases the property on the asset's performance. So they're not going to go directly for the seller themselves. If you default, they're just going to take the property back. So that's one thing, is it's a non-recourse. So the other question that you're asking is, where did the LP's money go? Crap, I blanked out. It doesn't go anywhere. It's still the same. It's just part of the risk that they're taking, right? So like when you're pitching it to your LPs, you're telling them all the risks that are involved in the deal, right? So you're telling them everything that could happen.
Your mic is a little muffled for some reason.
Can you hear me?
Oh, crispy.
Thanks, bro.
Got you.
I lost my train of thought, but
I'm sorry. The
No,
LPs are at risk.
Yes.
Tell them all the risks.
The LPs, you tell them all the risks that can happen on this particular deal. Typically, when you're talking to your LPs, and again, we're not attorneys, guys, we're not CPAs or anything. You definitely want to consult your attorney, but you have all of the risk, and your what do you call it? You're super transparent with everything that about the deal itself. So, obviously you're not going to try to put anybody at risk. You're going to mitigate the risk as much as possible. And that goes back to your underwriting, Max. So if you think that, well, if for whatever reason you're defaulting on the payments, hopefully you've had enough time in your underwriting to stress test every single possibility in case something did happen. You can pivot and make sure you adjust accordingly. So I would say more than anything, when you're underwriting the deal, underwrite for different scenarios, including worst case and including things that you may not even think of at all. Like maybe get feedback from someone else and tell them, hey, here's all the possibilities I have. Is there anything I'm missing? Like, did you, and it could be like, did you underwrite and stress test for property damage or fire damage or hurricane or something like that? So something that you can't think of, right? And make sure you have all that in your underwriting to make sure that nothing happens and you're covered and everyone is covered as well.
Well said, bro. Well said. All right.
Oh, I knew what I was going to say now. Okay,
Here we
got
go.
it. So where did the LP's money go, right? If there's a deficiency, maybe you can touch up on this, Joseph, and say you're not able to pay or do quarterly distributions for whatever reason, then there are things that you can do in order to take care of your investors. For example, one thing is, hopefully this never happens to you, but if you know you're going to come up short on the distributions, then you could, I wouldn't say defer, but you could take a pay cut for you as a GP and put that money instead for your LPs in order for them to get paid, to still get paid. Obviously, that money that you took a pay cut from would get accrued, and hopefully you would make it at the exit, right? And that's one thing that you can do to keep the people that your LPs paid. And the other one is if for whatever reason you can't pay them, then all the money that you're not able to pay also gets accrued. So whenever you do exit the property, and hopefully you exit it making money, all that is paid on the back end as well. So that's another way you can protect the investors. That's what I meant to say. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, one of the other ones I was looking at today, the first year was tough. It was really tough. I'm not gonna lie, but it was a nice property and the numbers looked good. So what I had manipulated in the analyzer is for the first year. Well, for every year that we have the property, we have the asset management fee or the asset manager fee. So that one on there, we had 2%. So that 2% was eating up most of the cash flow from that first year. So, like Oscar was saying, we can elect to take a pay cut or push it to the back end instead and put that money towards our investors, our LPs, to bring up that cash on cash number or their overall returns, whatever you want to call it. So that was a strategy that I looked at to see if, it made the deal better. Overall, it didn't make it good enough to go for it, but it was a strategy I tried because, we're trying to think outside the box here a little bit. We're all about being creative. If we can make it work and just doing something a little bit different, I mean, as long as we get the deal done, who cares, right? As long as the seller gets what they're looking for, we get the deal we're looking for, our investors are paid and happy and hungry for more, then what's the harm in doing something a little bit different as long as it's all legal, right? Consult your attorneys. So I'm just glad you brought that up. That was some good information for those that were listening. It was good information. What's the point of interest only payments? To save money, to basically push off paying the loan until later. Here you go. Gleb says it right here. Lower payments.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're looking for.
Yep.
So overall, you're going to end up paying a little bit more, but during the hold, you could be paying much less to get that cash flow up to a point where it could sustain itself, especially in your value add properties.
Joel, you know what's better than interest only payments? Principal only payments.
Yeah, basically 0% interest.
0% interest. Yep.
Those are the ones.
Yep.
Back to the drawing board, says Max. Love it. This guy's always working, man. Natalie says, buy cookies.
Dang.
Does she know, though? I still got them.
Those cookies had no chance at all.
Yeah, they really don't. I'm about to destroy them after this. If they were Oreos, they'd already be gone. Not even going to lie to you. I can destroy a whole pack of Oreos. With a glass of milk. Delicious. Well, guys, I hope that y'all got a lot of value out of the questions that we had here tonight, and a little bit of entertainment from Joseph the Cookie Monster, as I see here in the side chat. And our guest star appearance from KJ. Shout out. I know she's listening. Oscar, let's go around the room. Do you have anything that you'd like to add?
My dude took a page right out of my book, man.
I know it, bro. I'm about to just start copying everything you do in the meetings, man. It's so flawless.
Yeah. Again, if you are not on YouTube, that's where all the action happens. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, it's in your screen at the bottom. $1 Million Upside Team on YouTube. And if you're not a part of our Facebook group, where are you? Okay, there we go. Join us or join the Facebook group, Multifamily, the $1 Million Upside. And again, that's where we announce everything there. So just make sure you're plugged into that so you don't ever miss anything that we have, including the recordings and some other cool stuff coming your way, coming very soon. And the last but not least is this Friday Zoom, guys, part 3, underwriting. Again, you don't want to miss it. This Friday, guys, sign up and register. It's free. It's zoom.milliondollarupside.com. And this is going to be an exciting one. I can't wait, man. I really can't, Joseph. You're going to be blown away. Obviously, we'll talk soon, but man, it's going to be great, dude. Can't wait.
Even I'm left in the dark a little bit, guys. But it's all right. I'm just happy to be here, like I said, and just excited, man.
Look at the comments. That's hilarious.
Bring your own cookies. I love it. I love it. Guys, I just wanted to add, man, I appreciate each and every one of y'all for being here. It's super awesome seeing you guys show up each and every week, and sometimes multiple events of ours throughout the week. So it is awesome to see that, and we're truly grateful for each and every one of you guys. I also want to throw this out there too, that if you're coming on to these lives and you're not necessarily taking the action that you learn or taking initiative with the things that you learn from these rooms, whether excuse me, a cookie whether it's from us or from another group you're watching, whoever it is, I implore you guys to get out there and just take imperfect action. Don't wait until you think you know it all. Just get out there and just start screwing stuff up. And then when you run into trouble, that's exactly what this live is for you guys to come on, ask the questions that you're currently needing help with, so we can guide you in the situations that you're in and ultimately get better outcomes for you guys. So that's why we're here. Yeah, I do need some milk. It would be delicious right now, to be honest. But we're here for you guys. We really are. We're here for you guys. We say it all the time. We want to change the game. That's what we're here to do. So we need your help to get out there and cause problems and come back and bring more questions back to us. So that's my homework for all of y'all watching this week, to go out there and just screw some stuff up.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. With that said, we leave you guys. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.